Hello everyone and now welcome. Wait, what is going on? How come am I... Alright. Is it deciding to work on me? Alright, there it goes. Alright, I'm not quite sure. Like sound cut it out for a second, and even though I've just upgraded my computer running an i7-6700K with GTX 1070, I'm sure more than enough to run these games at 60 frames a second. But, well, I digress. Hello everyone, and thanks for watching so far. I am Crota, and I'm giving you game number 4 in this series between Fly and 120. Fly has spawned as the purple orc over here on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, 120 has spawned as the blue undead over here on the top left. Gonna go ahead and speed things up once more, as both of these players have gotten a good understanding of each other, and I am a bit surprised that actually Fly or 120 would choose this map, Echo Isle, in order to figure out what is the point. Yeah, for some reason I can't even talk or think straight right now. I'm just surprised that he would actually choose this particular map here, since the Blade Master does have pretty much free access to roam anywhere. I'm not quite sure what the other map of choice would be. Perhaps he wouldn't want to put everything on the line on Echo Isle if he had to go to a Game 5, and that's the reason why he's trying to play this particular map here. Now, Blade Master now wandering out will go ahead and take down this Ogre Warrior creep camp, but an Acolyte is in position to spot all this. All he's really trying to do is make sure that the gameplay of his opponent is fairly standard. Grunt now going to go after this one particular Acolyte here. Going to get some 2 shots. You see some actually hit and moving, and that's actually really intensive micro or focused micro in order to take down that Acolyte. 2 more shots from the Grunt should be enough to finish it off. 1 more shot. Is the Acolyte going to be able to get away? That is the big question. Oh, it turns the corner and gets, well, bludgeoned to death by an Ogre Warrior instead. All right, Blade Master now going after this Ogre Magi here. Ogre Magi is going to end up getting felled, as the Death Knight could try and come by with a Death Coil to finish it off, but I don't think that is going to really work out. Blade Master seems to be in a very good spot already. Finishing it off, going to go ahead and use that Windwalk. Picks up a Potion of Invulnerability. Death Knight without that Dust of Appearance now wandering around and about. Now, this particular location has perhaps the most powerful item on the map that isn't from a randomly rotating marketplace. Oh, spots the unit over there. Going to go ahead and double back around. He doesn't want to get attacked right now. He is trying to heal, and, well, he's doing a little bit of a head fake up against the Death Knight here. All right, Blade Master has once again wind-walked once more, has a little bit of time to freely move around, as we are looking at a 20/20 supply tech to tier 2 as the Orc Burrow will get finished. Now, that means that Fly will have access to all of that tier 3 goodness much earlier. He already has 2 Claws of Attack plus 6, which is also a very strong item and opening for Fly, and it's going to be up to Ted to perhaps be not Ted, 120 to be able to get back into this game. Now, Death Knight going after, or getting chased after by the Blade Master. Blade Master getting in some more shots there, getting that Death Knight down to about half life. And damage on any unit except the Death Knight is easily healable. The Death Knight has a difficult time healing any damage off of himself, short of Unholy Aura giving him a slight health regeneration bonus. All right, Blade Master going to go ahead and engage right here. Let's take a look at this. Death Knight may try and get some free damage onto some of these other unsuspecting units, as the Death Knight now looks to run away. All right, did we see the Murlocs now get taken out as well? There is perhaps the Nightcrawler. The Nightcrawler could get death coiled, and that's where you have to be very careful. You do not want to allow your opponent to steal that last bit of experience, as a death coil does go down onto the Grunt. Ensnare now. Low hit point Grunt running every which way, trying to get away, having nowhere really to run, as the Blade Master now goes after a Crypt Fiend. Death Knight, Blade Master down to 128 mana, 237 health, tries to perhaps run back off to the north. Going to go ahead and proc those creeps, get a couple of ensnares down, and beautiful use of the ensnare right there, making sure that, well, that Crypt Fiend did end up taking more damage than it possibly should. All right, is it going to get taken out? No, it is not. Going to buy a little bit more time, though. Death Coil could hit the Death Knight here. Windwalk, no, not going to be available, as he is already down to, well, 150, 160 hit points and climbing back slowly. Blade Master wants to get a shot off onto that Death Knight. That Ring of Protection +2 making a big difference right about now, as the Death Knight is much harder to burst down with 5 armor as opposed to 3. Let's continue to monitor the situations here. Over here on the top right, we are at Stronghold. We are going for a quicker Shadow Hunter as opposed to the Tauren Chieftain, and we still don't see a tech to tier 3 yet. Bestiary is nearly done. A tech to tier 3 most likely is in order, as you never want to be at, well, heavy armor on your buildings when you're going up against an undead player. Destroyers and Frostworms are both units that are commonly created in that matchup, and if you end up falling behind even further, well, things can go from bad to worse very quickly. Alright, Forest Troll Trapper now taking down Blade Master. If it gets 1 or 2 big critical strikes in a row, that can desperately change the outcome of the game, especially as that Blade Master is already at +18 without the help of Kodos. Now, the Blade Master could transfer some of those items back over to that Shadow Hunter now. It does need to free up some items as well. Perhaps a Gloves of Haste would be extremely helpful, as the Blade Master now going to work on all of these Forest Troll Berserkers. Ogre Brawler absorbing some damage as well. Blade Master gets in a 122 critical strike at level 2. That is fairly high already at this stage, dealing double damage into the 120 plus range is a very, very big deal. Tome of Agility given to the Shadow Hunter. Not quite sure why. Perhaps a little bit more damage on the Shadow Hunter, or a little bit more armor, as the Shadow Hunter currently has 4 armor sitting at level 1. He is an agility based hero, so that is the majority of his durability right there. Let's go ahead and engage here. Forest Troll Trapper will get taken down. Blade Master will stay at level 2. Shadow Hunter should in fact get to level 2 as well. Blade Master will be just shy. Meanwhile, 120 already getting to level 3 and getting to level 2 on the Lich. So a very strong 3-2 combination already, as we now see the Black Citadel about to be completed. All right, a bit of an experience lead there for the Undead. Let's take a look. Murlocs now trying to run around every which way. Units, the Nightcrawlers, will get taken out fairly fast. Huntsman now trying to head back, as we do see some items being dropped. Shadow Hunter picks up a Gloves of Haste, and Gloves of Haste quickly given to the Blade Master now. That is a lot of healing salves between all of these characters, and that means that there should be plenty of healing after this one particular fight. Blade Master sitting at level 3 gets a 177 critical strike, can perhaps get into the 180 range. Actually almost into the 200 range already, especially once that Kodo Beast does come out and join the rest of the army. Back across here, you can see Renegade Wizard just sitting back, relaxing in the backfield. Shadow Hunter will get very close to level 3. I do not believe we'll get to level 3. Nope. Just about 36 experience shy, as the Blade Master now wandering around, really not heading anywhere, but does have all of those very powerful items. Could in fact pick up an Orb of Lightning momentarily. It does give that Blade Master the ability to attack air. Perhaps a speed scroll should be given to the Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter already has one, so not quite sure what to make of that. Shadow Hunter now sitting at 3. Blade Master sitting at 3, going up against, I believe, a 3, soon to be 3 Lich, and maybe we might even see a Dark Ranger adding in finally. All right, not very many creep camps left. 44 over 50 supply compared to 49 over 50. Fly is, well, in the driver's seat right now. He's in a great spot, even though he is a little bit behind on experience, or not just experience, just overall items, after not clearing out this Gargantuan Sea Turtle in the back here. Shadow Hunter and Blade Master will both sit at level 3. Tauren Chieftain is going to be joining out here in just a moment, as we are going to be getting that War Drum damage increase. Kodo Beast now out onto the field. Let's see, Blade Master up to +22 attack. Are the units going to be able to get away? Here goes the engagement. Blade Master now going to go after some of these units, as a big Frost Nova does go down. All right, low hit point Grunt easily gets finished off there. Shadow Hunter not enough to finish the job, as we now see some peons doing a bit of long distance, well, mining. Are we going to see another ensnare go down? No, we are not. Peons still walking back and forth, And I guess that is one way you can try and get a little bit of an advantage. All right, Blade Master does get hexed. We see Banshees here just for, not for a hex, for curse, making that Blade Master miss some of his attacks. 207 critical strike on a level 3 Blade Master. Purge, 246 followed up. And now you see the damage is starting to add up more and more. Blade Master is missing his attacks though. So look at that. That Blade Master has been missing so many attacks so far that it's been very difficult for the Blade Master to kill anything. All right, Healing Wave going across. Lightning Shield could be useful on the Blade Master. Blade Master does not have Lightning Shield. Continuing to try to fight, is missing those attacks as we now see a Raider getting taken down there. Tauren Chieftain in a bit of hurt. Is it going to end up taking it down as another Death Knight Death Coil able to save? Blade Master does have Dust of Appearance, trying to run away down to 131. Death Coil, Potion of Invulnerability at the last possible moment does end up saving it, as you see the Shadow Hunter using a Clarity Potion and has already used up some healing salves on the Blade Master and Tauren Chieftain here. Double Voodoo Lounges. Blade Master may be forced to buy another way to heal here in just a moment. Another Clarity Potion being used as the Shadow Hunter needs to get some extra mana to rebound from that fight. 47 over 50 supply compared to 50 over 50. Voodoo Lounge looked like it was about to be destroyed, but Spider Sense must have been tingling, knowing that the Lich and the Death Knight should back off with the incoming Orc army. Now, what is 120's long-term strategy? It doesn't look like he's doing any real research besides the upgrade, so he is hoping to win this fight with a superior upgrades here in just a moment. He wants to be... What is that? Blade Master is just walking around right there. Why would you just let him wander around? Blade Master takes a good bit of damage, down to 480 after taking about 200 points of damage, as the units are now heading back off to the north.
A player's forces are under attack.
Back down to the south, Death Knight using this opportunity to continue to creep, and this is a very big risky maneuver by 120. He does have a Scroll of Town Portal, so at the very least, if he clears out this creep camp, or if he gets caught, he can just teleport away rather quickly. Death Knight going after the Gargantuan Sea Turtle right here, right now, and if he was paying attention, I do believe Fly knows exactly where his opponent is. Gonna catch him in the cookie jar. Scroll of Town Portal in order to get away. And that's pretty much after all of the important units have been cleared out. Very, very big deal right there. The items that were dropped, was it worth a Scroll of Town Portal? Double Dust of Appearance, Scroll of Healing, Scroll of Town Portal, Claws of Attack +9. Not necessarily that great. But when you consider that could have gone into the hands of the Blade Master, well, you are happy that it isn't. +23 attack right now, doesn't have faster attack speed, doesn't have Kodos. Where is all of the support? The Kodos are in the backfield here, giving a +20% damage bonus. What is a +20% damage bonus there? +14? Or no, +8 damage, so that is +31. Minimum of 62 to 31, that would have been 94. He could have easily start getting some high critical strikes, but he still doesn't have level 4 yet. Without level 4, things are going to be a little bit more difficult to come by, and the Blade Master hasn't really been doing that great when going up against the Undead army straight up. We haven't seen him go up against that Undead army straight up and come out ahead. He's been able to pick off units in snares, getting caught in transit, those types of plays. But in a straight out battle, unless the Orc army was larger to begin with, Fly's army has not been trading exceedingly well. Let's take a look at what's happening next. Kodo Beast completely out of position. Where are they going to go? Death Coil, Frost Nova onto the Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter Speed Scroll now being used. Blade Master isn't anywhere. Well, Blade Master is now finally right in that front position, but you see the number of misses going down. Banshees just really causing problems as the Blade Master is trying to finish off more units. All right, 225 critical strike, taking down a skeletal minion. Tauren Chieftain, is it going to get a big stomp off? There's a, yes, there it is. After the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, will it be able to actually finish off a unit or two? There was a heal. Grunt gets taken down. Dark Arrow finishes off a unit right there as we can now continue this fight once more. Tauren Chieftain down to 60 mana, not able to do very much as the Tauren Chieftain now backs off over here trying to heal back up. Meanwhile, Speed Scroll being used again. Blade Master going to go ahead and engage. There is some more heals. Raiders trying to run away down to 27 hit points. There it goes. It falls as well, as I believe 120 is just absolutely dominating this fight so far. Tauren Chieftain now continuing to make its way over. There's a big Frost Nova, healing wave. And all he's really doing right now is keeping his units alive. It hasn't really been dealing enough damage as the Lich gets a 400 hit point heal. Scroll of Healing used, only to see, wow, Kodo Beast finally gets taken out right there. Tauren Chieftain now going to try and engage. No stomp at all as the Blade Master gets off a 243 critical strike, but still sitting at level 3, not yet at level 4. Not having Spirit Link as an option for an Orc player makes this Undead versus Orc matchup just very, very difficult so far as the Blade Master does finally take down a unit. Alright, Blade Master now heading back off to the north again. Will he be able to survive? He does have an Orb of Lightning, but he needs to heal up significantly. Currently sitting at 46 over 60 supply compared to 59 over 60. 120 has been trading absolutely efficiently throughout this matchup. And that's really what's driving the outcome of this game. He's been able to minimize and mitigate much of the damage that the Blade Master would do by causing him to miss. Blade Master has missed a significant number of times in these battles, and you can see it now. The number of misses just going across the field makes this army significantly smaller than it looks on paper. 48 over 60, but if you're missing so many of your attacks, you can't really gauge and burst down a unit quickly at all. All right, Death Knight now sitting at level 4. Dark Ranger sitting at 2. Lich sitting at 3. Dual Obsidian Statues currently healing back up. As we see the Shadow Hunter and the remaining units just using some Clarity Potions once more. What is 120 hoping to do? I think he's hoping to catch his opponent off guard again, but that doesn't seem to be the case. 120 is playing this game by the book that we saw in game number 1 and game number 2. We may see a transition into destroyers. Yes, we are. And maybe eventually into frostworms, but I don't think he wants to go that far down the tech tree. By building those additional buildings, he's not really training up that many additional units as the Banshee does get taken out. Blade Master now sitting at level 4. Does have a potion of healing. Going to continue to fight. A big stomp goes down. But some of those grunts are not really engaging as one, wow, Crypt Fiend does end up surviving and getting healed at pretty much the last possible moment. All right, gonna end up getting into the ethereal form. Destroyers are now nowhere to be seen right now as the healing wave does bounce around. There goes a grunt here. Crypt Fiend's gonna continue to fight. Death Coil onto that Crypt Fiend. It is currently ensnared as it will get taken down. Low hit point Raider gets taken out there. Death Knight gonna continue this fight once more. Grunt very low on hit points. Does get a heal. Does end up staying alive as the Blade Master unable to finish off this one. Well, no, does get the final shot off there as the Destroyer is now perhaps going to be able to engage and attack. Blade Master perhaps going after some of these Crypt Fiends, wants to take them down. Tauren Chieftain still wandering around in a circle. Blade Master going after that Death Knight. Death Knight, however, has been healed back up as the Blade Master heads back to the north. All right, Lich now could be in trouble. Down to 190 hit points. Potion of Invulnerability now being used here as the Death Knight chasing after the Tauren Chieftain down to 69 hit points. It looks like he could get taken out. Scroll of Town Portal, and the Tauren Chieftain falls at the last most, well, improbable moment, but so does the Death Knight. Trading a level 4 hero for a level 2. Shadow Hunter gets to level 4. You see some dark rituals right there trying to get a bit more mana and also trying to get out of upkeep right there. Blade Master sitting at plus 23 attack right now. Where can he really go? What can he really do? If he can get to level 5, I do believe Fly's Blade Master with those critical strikes would actually outweigh the misses coming across from the Banshee's curse. We see 3-0 upgrades as well on the Crypt Fiends. Meanwhile, I don't believe we see any upgrades, or just 1-0 weapon upgrades on the Grunts and on the Raiders. That could be the deciding factor on why the Undead army seems to be trading so much better. All right, Death Knight getting resurrected. We are looking at 50 over 60 supply, slowly generating more or getting more gold out of that gold mine here in order to, well, train up more units once more. Blade Master going to be ready to go. Shadow Hunter going to be ready to go. All the units going to be ready to go here in just a second. Torrent Chieftain now back out on the field. Going to pick up, no Clarity Potion. Sells the Boots of Speed. Interesting choice there, as a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability has been picked up as well. Now, the camps, only one Murloc here, and only, well, I thought this, or it must be an invisible, yeah, a Nightcrawler right there, currently invisible. Not much is going to be done as the Great Hall now, Pocket Great Hall being set up. Back off to the north, 2 more minutes of mining. And that is all she wrote. About a little bit more than 2 minutes of mining off over there, as you see Spirit Link now being added. Spirit Link, a bit of a double-edged sword. Spirit Link are known to cause problems when it is devoured. And once it is devoured, the destroyers end up dealing more damage. So are we going to see more Obsidian statues transformed, as we already have 1 destroyer in play and 3 Obsidian statues ready to go? 58 over 60 supply. More units now making their way over. Skeletal minions hoping to finish off some of these poor peons. That is not going to really work. Blade Master has caught as scent of the incoming undead army.
A player's forces are
level 4, level 3, level 4 finally on that Lich, compared to a level 4 Blade Master, level 4 Shadow Hunter, level 2 Torrent Chieftain. And this fight is going to be, well, the deciding fight. Everything is fairly even at the stage except for the upgrades. But then again, we do have weapon speed upgrade and damage upgrade from the Kodo Beast and that Torrent Chieftain. Is that going to be enough here? Frost Nova Death Coil takes down a Troll Berserker. Going to go ahead and try and engage. Torrent Chieftain trying to get into position. Takes down some units. Torrent Chieftain unable to stomp. It should be able to stomp right there. Big stomp. It missed amongst all of those units, as we now see the Devour magic removing and giving mana to those destroyers. It looks as though, yes, 1 Ethereal Walker will get, or Spirit Walker will get taken down. Another Spirit Walker could get taken down as well. And this is just turning into an absolute nightmare for 120. Is he going to be able to finish off? Yes, he does get down on an Obsidian statue, but the destroyers are still completely unanswered right now. And as those Kodos end up getting destroyed and the Crypt Fiends start coming back out, well, that is going to be the end of that. You get an additional unit while taking out your opponent's units. Obsidian statues are pretty much all now removed. Spirit Walker going to get taken out right there. Death Knight going after a Kodo Beast. Death Coil saving the Crypt Fiend, and that is pretty much going to be the end of that. 120, the victor in this fight. Torrent Chieftain quickly gets Frost Nova'd, and I believe that is pretty much going to be it. Not much you can really do. 24 over 7. About 57. Wow. 120 is in a great spot, as the Great Hall will end up being destroyed. And now what you see is what you get in terms of army sizes and tech. Troll Berserkers attempting to take down some of these destroyers, not looking to be pretty at all. It looks as though there is the GG, as Fly loses this series 3-1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.